Welcome to the world of Hearthstone. I'm your host, storyteller, and dungeon master, Bilbo. Today I am going to review the second Dungeon in a Box series, Streets of Unseen. And so I'll go through, I put the other one, the first one, Apparel, Caravan Apparel, put that here as well, and I'll talk about that a little bit too. I did a review for that already, doing the second one. And we are actually almost finished with this adventure. And so I'll go with what's kind of in the box, talk a little bit about the adventure and my experience running it for mainly a bunch of new players. We have my grandson who plays, and I play this with the family. So first off, I'd say this. This is great for new players and old, and even bringing maybe some players like my wife back into Dungeons and Dragons. So we'll kind of go through my experience with that, and we'll go from there. So first, for Caravan Apparel, I actually played in it. Had my grandson run that one. We tried that out to see how that went. He had a good time DMing it. I played in it with my wife and a couple of my daughters who never played D&D before, and they had fun. I would say this. A new dungeon master like himself, he's DM'd for me and a couple of friends, small one-shot adventures. He said no problem. And I would say that Caravan Apparel, perfect for a new beginning dungeon master kind of start. Everything kind of comes in the box. I have out there the map of Green World there, and so that kind of gives you the map of the area. On the other side of that map is I'm trying to remember. No, and actually on the other side of that map is kind of like goals. So you get these little cards. I think I have some right here. Yeah. So each adventure, which is pretty cool, comes out with these little cards and just different things of kind of what you can accomplish and such. Just little cards. I won't say what they are, but there's just a variety of them that you get like +1 for, if you're trying to talk to somebody, investigation, stuff like that. So in a sense that you accomplished your goal. So what do you get in the dungeon box? Basically, you're supposed to get everything you need to run the adventure. And I would say, for the most part, they really live up to that. I thought, especially in the first box, really came with everything that you needed. Just so one, you get a lot of these flat minis here. Actually, which camera? There we go. This is for the first one. I'll show a little bit more detail in the second one, but these are all the flat minis that came for the first one, and so you get plenty of them, and then you get a couple of Bones miniatures here from Reaper Games. So let's see here. Yeah, this Mastiff. That's actually from the first one. And as you see, I've already painted it a little bit. We're actually using this in another game. One of my players is playing a gnome, wanted a mastiff as a familiar, and sure enough, I'm like, oh, I have one. And it was, so we were able to cross over that right away. What else did we get? Oh, Fin Dizzle here. So this here is little gnome wizard illusionist. And he came from the first one too. So it's perfect because he actually comes into play in the second story as well. I'll just show you the quick map. This is just the first one. I really like this map. This is from the Caravan of Perils. And as you see, little wagon caravan. Perfect as you can use for other dungeons. So I just wanted to show you that. So let's really kind of go into the next one, Streets of Unseen. So here you actually now have arrived to the city of Greyhaven, and there is a lot kind of going on. It's a big city. There's a lot that you can put in. I would say versus Caravan of Peril, you can do in like one night. I think we played 3 or 4 hours and finished that adventure. With Streets Unseen, I would say you really have to break it up into 2 sessions. Maybe you can even do 3. There's so much going on in there. And this is where I kind of have I think an unexperienced dungeon master, even my wife said this, um, that my grandson probably wouldn't have been able to run Streets Unseen. And I'll say the biggest thing, that the one thing that, and hopefully they'll change this, guys at Dungeon in a Box, I know they'll watch the video and check out my reviews, is there is no city map. Not even a basic, just here's this block and this block and this block. And that would have been nice. Like, here's the dock ward, here's the high street, and such. You don't have to detail the map out, just in the sense it would have been nice in the book. Just kind of like, here's locations of the different areas in the city. For me, I've been doing this for 40 years, so I can make up a city and locations right in my head. Just in the sense, okay, here's the dock ward, here's the Highlands. Let me just kind of go through this. So the city of Intrigue, and no knocking the adventure. I'll say this: it's a great adventure. I just think it would be tough for an inexperienced dungeon master. For me, I love it. One, you have all these inns and tavern characteristics, so you can build a few inns or taverns if you wish for your game. Just kind of select or roll a die, D6. I kind of like the randomness. They're talking to the bartender. The main villain in this one is Duke Draymore, and he's pretty cool. I like the detail of him. I'm not going to go into in the sense of everything about him, but I liked him as a villain. My players, I played him out as a villain, and they're chasing him. They're actually trying to kill him right now. But then once we get into the city, you have the gates of Greyhaven. Not too tough there to get past that, but this is the sense. You have the waterfront district, you have High Street, you have, what else here? The Market Square, you have Tychus Tower. So you have all these different areas, the inn, and really in the sense of no sense of directional kind of for a map, especially since they do these maps. I was kind of disappointed there was no city map. And one, there's a ton of encounters, so I give them all the credit due in that sense. There's plenty to do. You could make this go a few weeks if you want, if you use each encounter that they have here. Things like, you have a shakedown, you have crime of opportunity, you have a guard patrol, a simple card game, crime and punishment, street rats, seasoned swindler. Then you have your prophesizing the zealots, boozed up barbarian, tons of stuff. Just little side quick fun encounters. And I ran through quite a few of them. I think with ours, probably a good 3 out of here. I selected what I thought I could get through in the night. And but it's a lot going on. And for an inexperienced dungeon master, it might be tough. However, my players, they loved it. I had my one of my other daughters who's never played before, and my son-in-law, and he's never played before, so they played with us this time. And then my son joined, who's one of my regular players, along with my grandson. They played, so we had 5 players, I think, I think 5 players playing. And they all had a blast, kind of going through the streets. And I could give out details of a bustling city and such. And the dungeon in the box, the Streets Unseen does do a great job of that. It just, I think, for an inexperienced player, a map would be super nice just to have something. An experienced dungeon master that can just make stuff up off the fly like I can, is not going to have a problem with that. But because there's a lot going on, but I can make a lot going on in the city. I've done tons of city adventures and purely off the fly. So let's kind of go what's in here. So first, you have the map. So there's always a two-sided map in each of the dungeons here. So here you have the city streets. So really cool. And you could just use this for multiple encounters, and that's what they say. Just use the same streets. And then you have here a tavern, where the inn, I would say. And it's a pretty cool inn. I like the detail of this. The one thing is, like, they made the horse, they made the stables big, the bedrooms. I kind of wish the tavern was bigger in that sense. That was kind of my only thing. They have all this other detail here, a big kitchen and such. But I wish the tavern was bigger because, in a sense, when the fight broke out, it was crowded. So you have the maps there, which I love. You can use those, and I know I will use those maps as well as in the first book as well. Use those maps as well. So then we have all the flat minis here that came with it. I think there's about 11 or 12, something like that, minis here. This is pretty cool. So I really like some of these. So this is one of the encounters here. Actually, just probably best pull it up here. Trying to get a shield guardian. I think that's better detail. Maybe this one give me better detail. There we go. So a shield guardian, pretty cool encounter. The new players have played, they're like, we thought this was Dungeons and Dragons, not Transformers. So in the sense of how that encounter comes through, it's really cool. This here is a half-orc veteran. Really like this as well. Detail on this half-orc. Showing up on this one here. So I really like those. I like the flat minis. I'm becoming more and more of a fan. I've had a couple series. I've actually done one of the Kickstarters from Arknight, and another Kickstarter that I did also had more. I have quite a bit of pirates. Here is the Duke himself. So very cool nobleman. Oh, I didn't realize he's two-sided on. I just realized that his picture's on both sides. Where usually you get the front and back of the guy. This one, you get him on both sides. Weird. Then you have a bunch of little city guard and so on. So Watchman, city guard, they're quite involved in the adventure, and they should be. And then a couple drow. So that's one of the drow females, drow male there. I'm not going to kind of go into how they get involved or they're in the city. There's also a couple dogs. I don't remember where they're at in the adventure, but I like having, dogs and war dogs and such. Just having my game. You have a lot of the flat plastic pieces that are also dual-sided. This might be better in that sense. So here's a merchant shop. On the back is a horse, so it's pretty cool. It's a couple of merchant pieces. So there, but yeah, everything like this here is. So you have that. Other boxes and such. Fish. There we go. So here's one crate. There's an encounter with a dwarf right away in the beginning. And this here is I had where the Count is riding off with Finn Dizzle later on from the inn, and with shield guardian coming out of that trunk there in the back is pretty cool. So those are some of them. I like those. Once again, easy to have in a game. I mean, here's another, here's one of the horses you can use. I pulled out just to have on the side from the last adventure. You have here a wagon. So stuff like this, you can use multiple times in the game. That's what I really like about the whole dungeon in the box. There's a lot of versatility with what you have here. Then you get a couple Reaper minis here. And it does vary. I've had some metal ones, or I've had just where it's just plastic. But here is a pack mule. Show that up there. So little donkey, little mule. Here is an ogre. So I have a lot of painting to do. I mean, I did the Reaper Minis Kickstarter, their last one, and I'm anxiously waiting for those miniatures, but I'm also dreading it because I'm like, I really have to start painting. And then we have a bunch of kobolds, so I really like these. This is so have those. So I have to say, I really like the adventures. I have the third adventure here in front of me. This is the Splendor of the Sewers. So I've been told, I hope I like rats. So this is the third adventure. We'll probably do this in about 2 weeks. My grandson is going on spring break to California, and so we'll wait to play this through. Now I will say this one seems thicker, or not thicker, sorry, thinner than the other first two. So I have a feeling, and I've just breezed through it, I believe here an inexperienced player could also run this. But as I said, because of what I know with some of the adventures, I think there's even more city adventure coming forward in the adventures here. And that would be, like I said, nice. I'll show you kind of what's coming there. I've already put out the miniatures here. They were I just put them there. But here are the flat minis. So it seems a little less. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess 11. So you have a carrion crawler. You have quite a few. I haven't taken them out yet. I just kind of opened the box and just grabbed those to show you guys quick. Here is the little square pieces you can use. I think you have some slime there, and also some, maybe that's black pudding. But that kind of be nasty yet. I think these characters now will be third level going into this. Yeah, first to second, second to third. And then here's the map. So one side, so you have some sewers, hence they're going in the sewers. And there we go with probably the main encounter, or the kind of like dungeon area, wherever we're being taken in this one. I haven't read the adventure at all. As I said, it seems thinner. I have a feeling the inexperienced dungeon master could take this one on, just because when you're kind of confined into certain spots like a sewer or a dungeon, it's easier for a new dungeon master to kind of go, okay, I can get through this stuff and create stuff. But really, I have to say, I really like the Dungeon in the Box series. You really get stuff that is detailed and created for the adventure that you can actually use later on in your games. As I said, hey, we're already using the dog in the current campaign where in Dragon Heist. We're using that there. So if you like this or you have any other questions, please feel free below. You can ask me a question. I promise I will get back to you. I'll do another review of Splendor of the Sewers. I may wait and do the Splendor of the Sewers and then the next adventure as well, since I kind of shown some details of what was in this one, and give you the review after I've DM'd both of those. And like I said, we still have a little bit left of Streets Unseen. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out with the characters and such. And then we will go to Splendor and Sewers probably in the next adventure or next time we play. And then we'll do the next one, and then I'll probably do a review of both the next two, so 3 and 4. With that, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. Remember, it's cool to be a geek. Pass it on.